Hey everybody, my name is Michael Rymer. I am the co-producer and director of the motion picture Face to Face. The subject of this film is actually based on the work of one of my old high school friends. And I happened to be having lunch with him one day in Sydney, and I said, well, what are you up to? And he said, look, I can't even describe to you what I'm doing, but David Williamson's written a play about it. I'll email it to you. So that day he emailed me the play and I read it and I loved it. And really the experience of reading the play is pretty similar to the experience of watching the movie. And I thought, wow, this is like an Australian 12 Angry Men. What a fantastic piece of drama, and what a great low-budget film this would make, because you don't need a lot of money to shoot it. You just need good actors. And so I called Dave and I said, I love this. I want to do it as a movie, but surely surely it doesn't work out this well all the time. And he said, actually, this system is pretty amazing. It does work out. And I said, well, I think you just solved half the world's problems. So I'm a bit of I'm very proud of the film, but I'm also a bit of an evangelist for the subject matter.
My name is John McDonald. I'm the managing director of a business called Proactive Resolutions. Restorative Justice is about responding to an incident, a crime, an incident in the workplace, bullying, harassment, violence, something like that, and getting the people who own that incident to figure out how to deal with it. So when we talk about restorative justice, we talk about a community of people affected by something that's happened that's caused harm, and giving that community of people defined by the incident the opportunity to deal with it themselves.
The process of restorative justice is derived from indigenous cultures. The people who came up with the system studied Maori traditions and a lot of island traditions, and a lot of indigenous peoples around the world tend to have the system where if there's a conflict, the entire tribe will gather. The chief or the elder will sort of sit at the head of the circle, and everybody in the community will speak about how this conflict, these events, these actions have affected them. What they discovered was that if people have to sit face to face and deal with the consequences of their actions, both positive and negative, if they get to experience a sense of shame at the pain and difficulty that they've caused others, or pride in the positive choices that they've made, it tends to naturally cause people to resolve these conflicts and sort of unify as a tribe, as a community, as a village. I've made a lot of dark films in my life, hopefully dark but life-enriching, positive, films that make you want to live life more, but quite intense and dealing with the sort of the more, tragic, darker sort of aspects of life. So it's just nice to do a film that has such a positive message and a positive outcome, and not just to make you feel better when you walk out of the film, but it's actually suggesting real practical solutions that can actually be applied in the world immediately. But it wasn't until I was in the editing room and I'd seen it 100 times that I really began to understand what the facilitator is doing from moment to moment, that certain things have to happen in a certain order for progress to be made amongst the group. They're being guided very carefully to get to the truth of various situations and for them to all understand their role in it and how they affect each other. But it all unfolds in a fairly specific way, which, the more you study the film, the more interesting it becomes, I think.
I was astonished at David Williamson being able to write plays, having watched us do these conferences, and then to see, I didn't know Michael Rymer, but I'd seen his films and I'd seen some of his work, and the way he's managed to take what can be a 7 or 8 hour event and encapsulate it into that short space of time and not miss anything was astonishing to me.
David is Australia's most prominent, famous playwright, probably in the history of Australian drama. We shot this chronologically and we were sort of trying to figure out how to do it as we went. I was working with a crew who'd actually never made a film. The producers had never produced a film. The operators had never operated. The DP had done one feature, but very little. We had no gear. We had no focus pullers. The camera was attached to the monitors with cables that you buy at Radio Shack. It was very, let's rent a barn and put on a show. That mentality was very true to what we did. The film was shot in 12 days. And the only way that was possible is because it was, 85% of the film actually takes place in one room. So of that 12 days, 8 or 9 of them were actually just in that room. My great passion as a filmmaker is acting. I love great acting, and there's nothing that gets me more excited than something amazing happening in front of the camera, particularly something I didn't expect. That's always great. We actually had most of the cast in place, but we hadn't found the young actor to play the main role of Wayne, the kid who's actually, being threatened with being sent to jail. The role of Wayne was very challenging. He had to be physically intimidating and sort of, at first glance look like a thug. But he had to be soft and vulnerable inside and someone that you ended up caring about. Luckily, we found the perfect actor to play Luke. Greg Apps sent me a copy of a film, wonderful Australian film called Black Balloon, with Tony Collette, and it had this young actor who was playing a severely autistic kid. And Luke was just amazing, an amazing performance. And so I contacted Luke, and luckily, after Black Balloon, Luke had gone to America, got a big agent, done some big movies, including The Mummy 3 or something, and had a horrible time. So Luke was ready to come home and do something very small, very intimate, and and he really just hit it out of the park with this one. This film plays particularly well in front of a live audience. Strangely, it's a small, intimate film. It should work great on TV, and it does, but there's something about the collective experience of, because it's about a collective, there's a synergy that happens, and there's something special that comes out of screening. So I'm very excited that this new company, Mousetrap, has sort of emerged as to experiment and try and find new ways to bring you these films.
Please welcome award-winning icon of Australian cinema, Sigrid Thornton, everybody. What type of research did you do to personally prepare for this?
It's a very good question, because one of the, historically, of course, like most actors, I try to research, I should say, meticulously for any feature-length film, any material really, any script. But in this case, Michael, who is actually Michael Rymer, our superb director, I think he's done an extraordinary job here, as has our editor, Sasha. I have to just give him, and Richard. I mean, it was very much a team effort, but really, Michael got this film up in 2 weeks. He'd been working on it in pre, if you like, for a good long while, and suddenly decided not to go government funding, which is the main source of funding in Australia is government, in fact, for film development and indeed production. But Michael decided to go a different way and privately finance the film, and he rang me and said, "Well, are you interested in this script?" I said, "Yeah, it looks great," and I knew the play. I'd seen the play on the stage. And I said, "When are you shooting?" He said, "In 2 weeks." So the idea of actually meticulous research had to be thrown right out the window, and in favour of kind of naturalism, really, and what you see on the screen is very much an organic process. So the luxury that we had, the only luxury we had as actors, because we absolutely had no rehearsal at all. We had one table read, but no rehearsal even on the set. We just rolled the cameras. Which was mortifying, as you can imagine. Any actor will sort of be shaking their boots at the very thought of that. But what we did have was the luxury of consecutive filming. So the kind of unfolding that you see take place in the film happened in a rather more genuine and organic way than it would normally happen on a film shoot when you're shooting out of sequence.
In sequence.
That's right.
What's the difference in funding, private funding? Why did he go that way?
Oh well, because he wanted to make he was hot to trot basically, and he wanted to make the film quickly. But there are huge advantages to our film funding system. Works extremely well for all sorts of pictures, but it's a slow process. The wheels turn very, very slowly, and there's a lot of red tape, as you can well imagine. So, so Michael decided to skip that and go private. And indeed, it was you know, we like to call the film the little engine that could. It was made on a shoestring, and no one got paid. But you know, Michael took the trouble and the care to employ very good practitioners, some of whom were new chums, to feature film. Like Dennis Illick, our cinematographer, was actually new to feature filming, but nevertheless had extensive experience as a stills photographer. We shot it on SLR cameras. You know, we cut corners wherever it was possible.
Wow. What was the collaboration like between everybody on the set? Was there any off-screen exercises?
Drama. Oh, I see. Yeah. Exercises, you mean? Well, not really. I mean, it sounds kind of surprising, and it's a very fair question. But to be honest with you, shut in that hot box for 10 days straight with that group of people was kind of enough.
You talked about drama. Was there any startling moments or anything that happened during the filming of it that took things off track a bit? Or?
Probably nothing I could share with you. But
yeah, right. You can share with us. Right?
It was kind of intense and steamy, and I don't really mean it wasn't sort of sexually steamy. It was just intense. It was just steamy in every way. It was a grueling shoot. We worked very long days. And it was extremely difficult having no rehearsal, and people, and actors naturally, actors. If anyone in the world is riddled with insecurity, it's an actor. And so it played into this method of working played into a lot of those insecurities, of course, for the actors. So it was stressful, but I would say that we bonded very quickly, like cement. And I think it reads on the screen. I think that there's a sense of genuine compatibility where it's required and incompatibility where it's required.
Right.
Why did he need to start it so quickly if 2 weeks before he had no cast?
Well, he had a window, I think, with his finance. And he also wanted to catch a couple of actors before they, chuffed off elsewhere, myself included. And so there were things like that. And he just decided, look, let's just do this thing. I'm ready. I know what I want, how I want to shoot it. I know what I want to do. And he had a group of practitioners lined up behind him, ready to go. But he didn't start casting until very, very close to the 11th hour. Yeah.
Did you go to other film festivals with the film then?
Yes, it's been done the rounds actually. It's won an enormous number of prizes actually. It really does seem to capture people's imaginations, this film. It's won something like 15 film festivals, I mean, best film, and it's won. It's been kind of special commendation or special mention or something at at least another 15 films. So it's done very, very well on the film festival circuit, yeah.
And I think as an actor, a lot of people look at that film and they go, let's see, which one of these characters would I play?
Yes, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing, and it is interesting to me how much it has been shown at the Santa Barbara Film Festival, by the way, and it was my first experience of an American audience who respond very well to this film, and I must say I didn't know what to expect on that score. I'm so gratified to see that it seems to be a universal, it is of course dealing with universal themes, and one of the things that most drew me to it was the fact that it's such a timely film. I mean, the whole concept of dealing with bullying by means of peaceful reconciliation is a kind of relatively new concept, and restorative justice is, although not new, very much a growing trend in the United States and in Australia and in other Western countries. And so I think that this is it's a really timely film in terms of its sort of macrocosmic, sort of emblematically, if you like, timely. Yeah.
Sigrid Thornton, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming to the film. I'm so glad that you really do seem to have enjoyed it, and I'm thrilled to be able to tell that to Michael, Loretta, and the whole team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out.